We are still in Washington. We're still on the Long Beach Peninsula. We are going to talk about Thousand Trails today and what we have learned and our experiences in the last 6 times that we've stayed here. And also we're going to kind of show you our little bike ride. We did have a little bit of an accident, so we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit and just kind of go into a lot of different things today in this video. So we're still in Washington. We're still on the Long Beach Peninsula, and this is we're only going to be here a few more days, but this will be our last video. We're going to talk about the things that we have learned about Thousand Trails and our experiences in the last 6 stops that we've stayed at. We also are going to show you our little trip. We went on another bike ride down the Discovery Trail, and we'll kind of go into a little bit more details on my little accident that I had, and tell you what you shouldn't do, I guess. We're getting a lot of questions about our bikes, about different things that we have. If you look in our comments below, we do have a number of links down there with they're affiliate links, so we do get you know, a percentage of something. It doesn't cost you any more to use them, but those are the items that we are using. So if you are looking for those, then it would be nice if you clicked on our affiliate link. We get a little bit of money there to help us out, and we do appreciate that. As you can tell, we're here at we have some animals, some barnyard animals around. We've been spending our last couple weeks here at a friend's place, and they have a nice little plot here and little barn stuff. We've been over here. You can see all these new fence posts. I've been helping them build a fence. They're getting a new pony here in a couple weeks, and so that'll be part of the farm experience. And then over here we have, right now, we have the little barnyard that's going to get expanded out to that new fence that we put in. And we got ducks and chickens. And I'll show you the little baby chickens here in a minute. And we have this big greenhouse. Man, they got a lot of good stuff in that greenhouse. What are you doing there, huh? You're a funny duck that you don't make any noise, like a quack quack, huh? These guys like to come over and visit though. And this guy looks like he's really happy too. Always wagging his tail. And here's the chickens, and there's the big man himself. The rooster that likes to wake you up in the morning, huh, guy? Is this your barnyard? He likes to call all the hens to him from when they're out roaming around the yard. Not going to give us a debut? Ah, there you go. Yeah, you need to give everyone a wake-up call in the morning, right? There's the little chickies. Oh, they're hiding. Gonna have to come down here and look through the fence. Everyone wants to get into the picture, don't you? Huh? There's the little chickies back there in the back. They're called silkies. They like the silky chickens. A lot different. I know you have a lot to say. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, huh? So this is going into the greenhouse here, and you can see they definitely have some good stuff growing here. A lot of tomatoes and squash that are growing really good in here. It gets kind of cool at night. It's usually down in the 50s, lower 50s each night, and it only gets up into the upper 60s, maybe a little bit into the 70s during the day. So one of the issues with a farm is there's always work to do, and it's nice. I mean, we're retired, so we can come and help out here and there, but I don't want to have to do work every day, take care of all the animals. So we do like being in our motorhome and traveling around.
Go up, down. Tansy, go up.
So Tansy really likes it here too. The one thing is the peninsula is full of sand, so there's sand piles everywhere. And I keep telling my friend, you remember the parable in the Bible about the guy that built his house on sand? Well, that's all the peninsula is sand.
What is it? What is it? What did you find? Did you find some sand? Go up.
They have some big dogs here, so as long as she can stay away from them, she's pretty happy.
Up on top. Tansy, up. There you go. There you go. Where's Tansy? Where's Tansy? Are you up on a mountain?
Hi everyone. Well, this is kind of windy today, but we're going to go on a bike ride, and we're at the north end, the far north end of the Discovery Trail that we did a little bit on our video the other day. And so this one, we're going to start at here. This is north of Long Beach, or at the north side of Long Beach, and we're going to ride all the way to Cape Disappointment, and maybe even into El Waco and see exactly how long the trail is. So the kite store that we went to in our last video is about a quarter mile into town from here. We are on the beach. These are all the different kites that they sell. This is just a small sample of what it's like when they have their big kite show that goes on in August. So check out these sand sculptures. Right as they're being carved. Well, we have ridden up to the top of this little mountain, or maybe it's just a hill, but we're overlooking the ocean. You can see the bike path down there, or kinda. There's someone in an orange jacket riding along, but really pretty view. This is the view south of where we are, and that's where we used to, or that's where we were in the last video, was on that beach, down around those rocks, those tide pools, and you can see the tide's in quite a bit now. Well, hey, we are in El Waco. We made it all the way from the north portion of Long Beach all the way to the south side, which is El Waco. So it's 8.5 miles that we've ridden, and this cute little house kind of thing here is the start of the trail. And if you look right down here on the trail, you can see that it starts off with this cool bridge. Pretty cool bridge, but it's hard to steer left-handed and work the camera, but it is a long bridge right on the side of the mountain. I'm taping us panting because we've gone 1 mile back from El Waco, and man, I don't know what grades though are. There's at least 10 or 12%. Yeah, straight up, straight down.
It was like a roller coaster.
This last little grade that we just finished, man, if we didn't have it on the lowest gear, pedaling as hard as we could with all the power. This is a 750 watt motor, and we were just pushing it right up over the top. If we didn't pedal, we wouldn't have been here.
Yeah,
so
this next one's gonna be.
Now we've got the next mile, which is kind of the same thing, straight up and down.
But it's dirt.
And it's dirt instead of pavement. And after that, then we're back out next to the beach, so it's pretty level after that.
Hopefully we have enough power to get home.
Oh, we have plenty of power, right? She got 4 bars out of 5. So, and we went riding the other day, and we haven't charged since. So, note to self:
207 miles.
It's best to charge before you go out on another trip.
Especially this one. This is our longest one.
This is our longest one. So anyway, we're going to continue on. Riding down the trail. I have to steer the bike with my left hand because I'm not coordinated enough to hold the camera with my right. And we were just thinking that we need to find something so that we can mount this on the bike or on my helmet or something, but it's definitely a little harder. But this is a really pretty trail. This is probably one of our favorite trails so far, bike riding. Oh, whoops, sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Trying to do too many things at once.
Oh no, your thing fell off.
Oh, it's just my phone.
What were you doing?
I was trying to videotape the bridge and I pushed the wrong button.
And you saw him on the wrong side. We stopped because there was a snake in the road.
Oh!
Sorry about that, but we stopped to look at the snake. And then when he started,
No, he was right there. He was I only had the front brake, so that's what I pushed.
I'm so glad you're okay. You're not even, you don't even have, I do have a first aid kit with me. You don't have any scratches.
A couple. Yeah. Okay, well that was an experience. Should keep my hands. I need to keep my right hand on the brake, not the left hand. But anyway, we went 17.0 miles exactly, which is really crazy, and the wind was really kind of hard there too. But so we had to up the power just a little bit. But so our first crash. Well, I guess my first crash on our bikes. But yeah. I got a couple scratches on my hand, but other than that, on my palm. But other than that, well, I did get a little scrape on my hip. But other than that, I guess we fared okay. So we were lucky, or at least I was. She was lucky because she didn't have to carry me back. So,
And we had enough power to get home.
And we had enough power to get home. So anyway, that was a fun ride. So that was well worth it. Really interesting trail. Yeah, really pretty trail. So hopefully we got some things that we can share with you on the trail. But I'll tell you, that piece by Ilwaco, that last 2 miles just to Ilwaco was definitely
crazy.
Straight up and down crazy. Yeah, that was really crazy. I'd hate to be trying that on a regular bike. Yeah,
I'd be walking it.
We wouldn't have never been doing that because that was at least a 10% pitch. I mean,
I had to push mine up one night. I couldn't make it.
It's a matter of when you see that big old hill there that you get yourself geared down, because these bikes are all they are is a 7-speed cruiser. So you need to get yourself down into first gear so that you can help go up over those hills, because the motor's good, but it takes a lot of power to get up over the hill. So it's nice if you can assist it. So anyway, just looking ahead makes it a lot easier. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. Okay, well now it's time to actually take some time and let's talk about Thousand Trails. Just a review on that. We had a friend of ours, his name Robert, that gave us a zone pass of Thousand Trails. And the zone pass is actually broke up into 5 different areas. So the zone pass we own is that Robert gave to us, we picked, was the Pacific Northwest. And that's Washington and Oregon mainly. And then we did pay, you can buy extra zone passes for $65 on top of that. So we did buy the California, Nevada, and Arizona area. So that's that would be the southwestern area zone pass, so that we can use that. Now a zone pass allows you to stay in the park for 14 days, and then you got to be out of the park system for 7 days, or like we just did, you could stay, as long as you didn't stay past 4 days, you can go park to park to park. And so that's what we have done going up the Oregon coast. So I'm going to go through some of the different observations that we've made, talking to people, things that we've seen, just kind of give you an idea. So first of all, I have to say every park is different, which is interesting, okay? And it's different in how its upkeep is taken care of, the people that are running it. It really kind of seems to gear around the management of that particular park. If they have a great management, manager that's out involved in the park and seeing people and talking to them, things like that, the park seems to run a lot nicer, and the employees are all excited and happy. They all talk to you and things like that, compared to the ones where we don't ever see the manager and we don't really half the time see any employees. So that's one big difference. And I have to say that the biggest complaint that we have heard from everybody is the maintenance on the parks. So when you spend your money to buy a membership, for example, that money, from what I understand, doesn't go to the park. It goes somewhere. Don't know. To the salespeople, a lot of it, and some of it goes back to the corporation, I'm sure, to either buy more places or whatever, or maybe their capital expenses come out of that. I have no idea, but I do know that the maintenance or the money that we spend on zone passes, or that you pay if you happen to have a membership, that money goes to the park based on how many times someone stays at the park. So every time you make a reservation of the park, that park gets a little bit of money to kind of take care of the park. And because of that, some parks are well maintained and some just aren't. And I think it's really comes down to the manager, what's going on with the manager. And our biggest complaint with the maintenance portion of it, like when we were in Las Vegas, 2 days after we got there or whatever it was, they posted signs, hey, the pool is closing, and we're now at the peak of the season, and they closed the pool for a month or two because they were redoing it. From here, we were going to go to Bend, Oregon. We happened to look and see there's one there, so we're going to try to stay there maybe. And that particular one, we got a notice that their pool is closed. They're redoing the whole pool, and it will not be opened until sometime in August, meaning that it's closed for almost a month, right during the prime time. And it just doesn't make any sense, what these managers are dealing with. So to me, management isn't necessarily in touch with what's going on with reality. So the ones that are out with the people, talking to the people, like the South Jetty and the Long Beach one, they seem to be more in touch with the what's going on in their park and making their park better. So those managers, I think, are great. So it seems like every park is understaffed in some way. Now, it may be part of the pandemic, because everyone's complaining about that same thing. They can't get anybody they can't hire people. So that may be it. So the thing to keep in mind, in our particular case, we have a zone pass. If you were to buy that, it would be about $800. So depending on if you bought the 1,000 Trails collection on top of that, the Trails collection I should say, or Encore, or whatever you want to call it, for another $300, your nightly cost, whether you stay in a park or not, is about, if it's 1,000 Trails only, it's a little less than $2 a night. If it's including the Trails collection, then it's a little bit over $2 a night, about $2.50 a night to stay in a night, whether you stay in the park or you don't stay in the park. So you just need to keep that in mind when you're looking at costs. So that's just for a zone pass. So if you pay, even let's just say $10,000 for a membership, you have to take that into account. How much does it cost you per month or per day for 1,000 Trails? One that's being sold right now allows you to stay in the park up to, I think it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then you can go from park to park to park. You don't have to ever be out of the system. So as a full-timer, that is pretty appealing. Okay, so we don't use the bathrooms, for example. We don't even use the laundromat typically, because we go to the big ones that have more machines. So we just want a place to park. If we want to just have a place to park and that's all we care about, then this works out very nicely. Okay, because you do get a nice place, nice secure place that you can make reservations for, and you can actually enjoy the park and enjoy the people. So that's nice if that's the type of setup you want, is to be able to stay at an RV park with full hookups all the time. Now, with the different memberships that you can get, you can also add on a deal called RPI. So can't remember what that stands for. Something resorts, something international. So anyway, you can add that on to your membership, and then that does open up a whole bunch more parks, even in the middle of the United States, that allows you to you can stay at those parks for $10 a night. So you can go stay there for $10 a night, and then move around the system, so you don't have to just be at 1,000 Trails. So in that particular case, you could go somewhere else, but you will pay an additional fee per night. Now, with that in mind, you need to understand that RPI people from other types of resort systems can also stay at 1,000 Trails. So 1,000 Trails has so many sites set aside for RPI people to come into. So you can't make reservations for those sites because the RPI people may need them. Okay, and at a certain point, then I think that they open. If RPI doesn't, then you can start getting those, but initially, that's reserved ahead. Also, parks do reserve so many sites that are allowed for people to come in off the street. They don't even need to have a Thousand Trails membership. They just come in and they stay at the park and they pay a whatever per night fee, $50, $60, $70 per night, just like they would at any other RV park. Okay, so and that money stays with that park, and so each park will reserve so many sites that they keep that you can't get to at all, and that's only for people coming in off the street. And there's a couple things that are used for that. That's to introduce them to the Thousand Trails system, maybe get the salespeople involved, plus it's income for the park itself that doesn't come from corporate. So that goes directly to their bottom line that they get to actually use to maintain the park. So there's some advantage to that. I was talking to one person that said when he bought his membership that he bought it new, and it was came out to $100 a month. So basically he's bought his membership, he's paying $100 a month, and he can stay in the park. You know, he can stay in for 3 weeks and then he has to be out for a week, so he just goes to a state park, comes back, and so for $100 a month he's getting 3 weeks of camping. That is pretty nice little deal. You know, that's pretty cheap, and that's a good way to make your money go farther. But new memberships are going to cost considerably more than if you just bought a used one. But some things that you need to keep in mind if you buy somebody else's, there's lots of them out there and you can get them at a good deal, but you got to be really careful. Some of those used memberships don't even allow you to upgrade. So there's no way to upgrade to the newest Trails collection from that particular membership. So you got to be really careful what you're buying, and you want to go through a reputable person to you know, check that stuff out and figure all that stuff out. The ones that pay the more money, right, they have the better options, which makes sense. I mean, the newest thing they're selling, you can book up to 6 months out. So if you can book 6 months out, then you're going to have a lot better chance of getting your site that you want. And when you're on a zone pass, you can only book 60 days out. So 60 days, I have to wait for that 60 days, and whatever's left over, then I can start booking. But one issue with Thousand Trails that a lot of people complain about that are trying to get the reservations, like us zone pass people, is that the ones with the money that get to make those bookings out 6 months ahead, they can book that 6 months ahead and they may not even show up. And that's probably the biggest drawback right now that the zone people complain about, is because there's nothing that says you have to call them, and there's no penalties if you don't. And so if you just always book stuff because you had all this special privileges because you paid all this money, then you get to do it all, but the other people are paying the penalty. The spots are first come, first served, so they do try to steer people accordingly, even though it was first come, first serve. Their check-in time is 12 o'clock, but I've noticed people in there like at 10 o'clock checking in, and I asked about that, and they said, well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. They arrived early, and they're just trying to get a jump on everybody else. So the bottom line is that if you are a boondocker like we are, we boondock, you know, I mean, up until we stayed at this last RV resort that we work camped at, we had only spent maybe in the first 3 years of on the road, we only spent maybe 4 or 5 nights in an RV resort. And most of the time we were out on boondocking all the time. So if that's the type of lifestyle that you live, then it's not worth buying Thousand Trails, because like I said, it's going to cost you something per night whether you're using it or not. So if you buy a zone pass and you only use it for a couple nights, it might not be worth it. But if you figure that you do want to stay in RV resorts, and most of those RV resorts or parks are going to cost you somewhere between, you know, $20 to $50, then, you know, a Thousand Trails pass could pay for itself pretty quickly. So you just have to really figure out how many nights that you would actually stay there, and if it's worth it. I mean, if you're only going to stay, you know, 10 nights, and we said the average was $40, for example, then that's $400, or even $50, that's $500. Then you know, if you bought the whole system and it's $800, it's not worth your money. You might as well just, you know, stay at regular RV parks. Okay, and you have a lot more flexibility in that sense as to where you're going to go and stay. Well, hopefully we've given you enough to think about here, and that we've helped you kind of learn something about Thousand Trails a little bit. I mean, I know there's tons more to learn, and for us, we're still new. You know, we've only stayed at 6 places, so we've got a long ways to go. We do know that there's resorts in Yuma. We're going to actually check those out, and I'll do a video on the Encore resorts and show you what those are like. Again, they say they're resorts, so we'll check that out and see what the differences are, why maybe they are called resorts and the Thousand Trails aren't. So anyway, we'll check into all that, and we'll be getting back to you with more of those as we go. From here, we are actually moving away from the coast, and our next stop is actually going to be Bend, Oregon, and we're actually going to try to stay at that Thousand Trails. So we'll see how that works out. We are leaving this next week for that, so we're going to do that. As it goes, this is the last video section of this 7 series that we were going to put together. Going forward, we're going to try to do a series on applications, so just like apps that you run on your phone or on your computer to help you find places to stay, make reservations, places, whatever. For example, Harvest Host, Thousand Trails, RV Trip Wizard, things like that. We're going to actually dig into those a lot more as we go forward. So it will just depend on which, if any of those that you might want to use. Hopefully they'll be helpful things for us to talk about. Plus, we're going to talk about our budget. You know, how much does it actually cost to be on the road full time? And actually, you'll find out that everyone has their own ideas on that also. So remember, life's an adventure, and that's what we're out here doing, and we're having fun. We're doing the things that we want to do. We appreciate those of you that are subscribers to our channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about it. Also, if you have comments, you know, please leave those comments. I mean, I've given you a lot of things about Thousand Trails. What's your experience? You know, have you had those same type of you know, experiences at Thousand Trails? Do you have a membership? Do you love having your membership? I know I have a lot of friends that love their membership. With that said, that completes this video. So we'll go ahead and end it here, and we'll just say that we'll see you on down the road on the next video.